Welcome to Mile High Living. I'm Sam Boik. Thanks for joining us today. When you or a loved one are facing the seemingly insurmountable challenge of federal criminal charges, you don't just need a lawyer, you need an expert team of federal criminal defense attorneys with a commitment to protecting your rights and securing your freedom. And today we're continuing with our series, The Legal Corner, brought to you by Evergreen Attorneys. And here with me again is attorney Zach Newland to tell us more. Wonderful to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Now, when the federal government comes a-knockin', what are kind of the first steps that you would tell to your clients?
Yeah, the first thing I would always say is take a deep breath. It's not the end of your life, but the things that you need to do are find someone that you trust who can fight for you and stand with you in these dark times and try to find some hope. So that means doing your research and trying to find a lawyer that you really feel can be a part of your family and also an advocate for you.
Are there options to kind of get the best outcome?
Yeah, of course there are, and that depends on the case. And oftentimes what you do is you sit down with that attorney that you trust and that you've decided to vet. And some cases are going to be cases where you need to go to trial and fight all the way and fight every inch and hold the government accountable. In other cases, you're going to need to candidly cooperate to try to get the best outcome possible for many reasons. Maybe you're not the target of the investigation, or maybe that's just the best way to have the best outcome for that client and their family.
Okay, and can you tell our viewers what a proffer is and how does this work?
Sure, so a proffer is a really lawyerly word. I know we might use it today.
Okay.
That's a fancy way of saying a formal sit down with the government. And so what a formal sit down with the government looks like is you agree on the rules of the road beforehand, so there'll be what we call a proffer agreement. It's a document setting out different things that you can do and can't do. And you talk with the government and try to give them information that they might be interested in to help leverage and negotiate a better outcome in your case.
Okay, are there certain types of cases where a proffer might be the best option?
Yeah, of course. So sometimes the example that I always give is oftentimes the government may be investigating you, but they're really looking for someone who's a higher up. Maybe it's a CEO, someone who's making decisions, and your name just happens to be on a piece of paper. So that person may have a better incentive and a better outcome if they go in and talk to the government and try to provide relevant information to see if, one, you could be a cooperating witness, or two, to show the government, hey, I'm not really the person that you're looking at here. Here's why you need to be going in a different direction.
Okay, there's something that's called a queen for a day. What are sort of the pros and cons of this? What does this mean?
Yeah, so a queen for a day is another lawyerly term that we use for kind of these same formal sit downs. And the queen for a day letter is the letter that your attorney should be really fighting the government on, because those rules of the road, like I talked about earlier, can vary widely from case to case. And so you need to make sure that you have protections in place where if you talk to the government and ultimately things fall apart, they break down, you can still have options available like going to trial and not worry about the things that you told them in that session being used against you later.
Okay, so information that's shared during one of these proffer meetings, can this be used as leverage to kind of negotiate to your benefit?
Absolutely. That's kind of the whole point of this, is
Okay.
to see what valuable information do you have that you can give to the government to say, hey, I want some benefit here, as opposed to fighting you. This may be a case where we need to try to cooperate and negotiate a resolution.
Okay, and could this essentially help with a sentence reduction?
Yeah, absolutely. So the number one goal of proffering and those sorts of things is try to avoid charges altogether.
Okay.
But sometimes someone's already been charged, or that's just candidly not going to happen. And in those cases, you want to give as much valuable information as you can to get the most benefit. And that benefit might ultimately be the government recommending or seeking a lesser sentence, less severe sentence from the judge.
Okay, are there any exceptions or limitations when it comes to immunity under these proffer agreements?
Yeah, so great lawyerly word again. So when we're talking about immunity, meaning is what I'm saying to the government going to be used against me? And there are huge exceptions, and they come up and they vary from case to case and even from state to state. So that's where the experience of a lawyer who does these things all the time can really make the difference. So you need to sit down early on with your lawyer and not just walk into one of these meetings. Candidly, it's not a sit down with a friend, and so you need a lot of prep time and you need someone to get those rules of the road right.
Okay, if we do have a viewer that's watching right now and they're thinking, I might be able to use some counsel, what are the first steps that you would recommend that they take right now?
Sure, so I would say don't try to do it yourself, and you can call us at 303-948-1489. You can find us at evergreenattorneys.com. We have a ton of resources on the web, and also just do your homework. Interview multiple lawyers like you would if you had a doctor and you had a procedure that you need done.
We just have about 30 seconds left. I know a lot of this could make someone's just mind kind of run the gamut. How can you help put people's minds at ease?
I always tell people this may be the worst day of your life, but it's not the last day of your life. Take a deep breath, find someone that you can trust, and hold on to the people that love you, because they'll be there no matter what.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time today, Zach. And take the first step towards safeguarding your future today and seek out the expertise of Evergreen Attorneys. Call them today for a free and confidential consultation at 303-948-1489. You can also visit evergreenattorneys.com for more information.